you young people. Welcome back to 316. So nice to see all of you. We are talking about a sermon series called God Encounter. And I believe it is so relevant because it shows you that God wants to show up in your life in a powerful way. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what your family looks like. God wants to show up in your life in a powerful, powerful way. Today we're going to talk about a person in the Bible, and that is a king. Now, I'm not talking about King David, but his son, King Solomon. King Solomon is known for his wisdom, right? So here in his life in 1 Kings chapter 3, we see how God shows up in Solomon's life. Now, Solomon is a very young king. He just took over from the father, David, and now he is a young king. He is not so sure what to do. So he has a lot of questions and he has a lot of concern if he can even do the job that God asked him to do. So now he has a God encounter. 1 Kings chapter 3. He has a God encounter where God shows up and speaks to him. And then God asks him, "What do you want? I will give it to you." And then Solomon thinks about it and says, "You know what? I could ask for money. I could ask for fame. I could ask for the death of my enemies so that I will have peace, a good ruler." But he said, no. What I want wisdom so that I know how to lead your people in the right way. And God was pleased with that. And he said, "Oh, you have asked a good thing, so I will give you wisdom. And because you have not asked for money, fame, and for peace, I will give you all that on top of the wisdom that you asked for." But here's the thing. All that happened in a dream. Go into the Bible and read it. It happened all in a dream. So God basically showed Solomon, if I show up, which I will, and I will ask you, "What do you want from me?" Now you know what to ask for. Basically, God gave Solomon a cheat code, a cheat sheet, where he could really know now what is the best thing to ask for, right? It's almost like in GTA 5, when you put in the little code into the guy's handphone, all of a sudden you have all the weapons at your disposal, right? You didn't earn them, you didn't collect them, you just put in the cheat code and you get all the weapons. I believe Solomon was a little bit like that because God gave him the answer already. But here's the thing. Solomon had questions. Solomon had doubts in his life, so he knew that he needed God. That is the very first thing that we can learn. And I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care how big or how good your family is. You have to acknowledge that you need God. Come on, we all need God in our life. There's only so much that we can do. We need God in our life. Just see what it says in 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 7. "Now, Lord, my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David. But I am a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties." So Solomon understood that he cannot do what God asked him to do. He could not fulfill the position of the king like he knew he should. So he was not afraid to acknowledge that he needed God in his life. And what a good thing it was, because he acknowledged that and he even voiced it out. Now God could give him wisdom and could give him the strategies that he needed to become a successful king. So I want you to know that we need God in our life and that we have to acknowledge that we need God. And I know that God will come in and He will give you what you need. That is the kind of God that we worship. The second thing that Solomon knew is that he was not afraid to ask for help. He was not afraid to ask for help. See what it says in 1 Kings 3, verse 9. "So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" So Solomon knew that he needed God, and he was not afraid to ask God for help. And because he did that, I believe he became a good and a successful king. A king that Israel had never seen before, in that splendor, in that wisdom, in those riches, and even the peace that they had during his reign. But he knew that he could ask God for help. My question to you this morning is, do you know that you can ask God for help? Do you know that God actually wants to come in? That he wants to help you? That he wants to give you what you need so that you can live a good life? God wants to come in. The only thing we need to do is we have to ask God to come in and help us live our best life. And I know that God will answer to that prayer. So pray to God and say, God, I need your help, and expect him to come. And the third thing that we can see in the story is that Solomon succeeded. God gave him a promise that he would succeed, and he even succeeded. If you know the life of Solomon, you know that he became the wisest king that has ever lived, that now they had peace surrounding of Israel, and that he was a very prosperous king. So that all happened because he was able to acknowledge that he needed God, and that he asked God for help, and that made his life a success. And I want you to know, put it close to your heart, that we can have a successful life, but we have to acknowledge God and ask him to come in and help us. God wants to give wisdom. God wants to help you, but he's waiting for us to come to him and ask him to come in. Ask him to help us, and he is more than willing to do so. So I believe whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve, because God wants to give you success. God wants to give you wisdom so that you will know what to do in order to fulfill the dreams that you have for your life. All right, with this one, I open up for a time of discussion and questions. So I will see you at the Zoom call. Until then, next week, I will see you. Bye-bye.